Hi everyone, this is Nabil Hashmi here, and I'm here with the brand new episode of It's Nabil Hashmi, and it's going to be a blockbuster episode because I have been joined by one of the best all-rounders of white ball cricket history, none other than Mr. Shane Watson. I think if you talk about Shane Watson, he's someone wherever he goes, title follows him. So, Shane, it's been a pleasure working with you, and now I'm here interviewing you. How it has been in Dubai, preparing for the IPL.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Nabil. Thanks for having me. um,
it's quite strange, to be sitting and interviewing you.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Pep me with all these tough questions, I'm sure.
knowing your batting style, like you like to see 4-5 deliveries and then the onslaught, starts. So I will give you that time.
Yeah, you know me too well. Look, it's great. It's great to be here in Dubai. It's a different experience in this current world environment and the current economic climate with everything that's going on with COVID. So, even from flying out from the PSL back to Australia to then flying out to Dubai is a very different experience. It's like you're living in a totally different world, which is very, very tragic for the people. For so many people who have been affected by COVID, and so to be able to arrive here in Dubai and be locked down for 7 days as a starting point, which I've fully understand, because we have to do everything we can to make sure the tournament goes ahead and everyone stays safe. But then for a couple of our players to be test positive, it just meant that we had another week in quarantine as well. But look, I love my own time. I've got plenty of things to do with T20 stars in particular. I've got a lot of exciting things that I'm working on. So I had heaps of things to do and learn as well for the 2 weeks that I was in quarantine. But yeah, so it's an exciting time to be here for another IPL. But it's a very, very different experience compared to any other year.
If I have to summarize your last 2-3 months, I think that's probably the most time you must have spent in last 2 decades with your family.
For a big stretch, absolutely. Straight after the PSL, I was initially going to go straight from the PSL in Karachi, flying directly to Chennai initially before the COVID situation hit. So I was going to be away from my family for nearly 3 months, probably up until they flew over to India. But I ended up going home to Sydney, being quarantined for two weeks at home, which was great to be able to spend quality time with the family. And then it's about 5 months straight at home, which was incredible. And that's you've always see the positive side of things, or the learnings that you can get out of not good situations. And this COVID situation certainly has not been a good situation across the world, where that's economy, where it's obviously the people who've been affected by it, who've died because of it. But the positive side of it is it's really just pulled back life. It's actually made people slow down and nearly stop, which, because life is so busy, you never really get a chance. You're always on the go. So it's actually really brought the core things to what really matters to you the most. And that was just creating your own home environment and just be happy with that and content with that, because no one else is really allowed into that, for their period of time anyway. No one was really allowed into your bubble. So that was actually a really special thing. There's a few teething problems here and there because, you're not used to just being totally in the bubble together. But it was a really special time.
Have you been helping out Lee with the work at home?
Yeah, of course. Look, Lee, when we had both kids, Will and Matilda, were being homeschooled. Lee took on Will. He's the eldest. He's 7, so so he had a fair bit more work. So Lee took him on, and I took on Matilda. And Matilda's stuff, she's in preschool, so there's some. We would do some work for probably 45 minutes to an hour in the morning, and then we'd go and play. We'd jump on the trampoline and have some fun. Will wasn't happy with that because he had the rest of the day.
One question before we move on to the sports side of things. Obviously, an athlete like you, who has achieved so much and has been away from home, obviously, for quite a lot of time in your life. So these times when you are at home, you tend to think that, yes, I have achieved this, but during all that, I sacrificed on this, and then, I cannot spend quality time with my kids or family. So was it the general realization for you? And I'm sure there will be other people as well.
Look, I know how incredibly lucky and fortunate I've been to be able to live the life that I have. So I don't feel like, yeah, there's no doubt one side is being away from my family and being away, whether it's my mum and dad and my sister in my early years, or whether it's now my wife and my kids. There's no doubt that's the downside to playing cricket professionally. But I don't see that as a negative. It's just part and parcel. Everyone's got like one sort of downside or negative side to what they do, but I wouldn't give it up for anything. It's just part of I love playing. I love my family being with me on the journey now to really get caught up in the whole experience, whether it is for PSL, for the Quetta Gladiators like Will and Matilda wearing their shirts, even if they're not over in Pakistan for the PSL.
Hopefully they will be here next year.
Exactly. And it's just a really special time in my family. Even if I'm not there, it's a really special time for us to sort of celebrate at this stage in my career, the life that I've been so lucky to be able to live.
Okay, Shane, like you mentioned earlier, while you were talking, that there have been some hiccups in the CSK camp as well, with players and staff testing positive, and then obviously the big blows. Suresh Raina and Harbhajan Singh not joining the squad. Obviously Raina flying back and Harbhajan not joining the squad. So do you think that you guys would iron out these issues before the original the tournament starts originally?
Oh, well, we have to. We have to. We've got no excuses. The great thing is with the CSK squad, we've got a lot of depth, as all IPL squads do. They've got a lot of depth. It's going to be incredibly hard to be able to replace Raina. Like you can't. He scored the second most IPL runs ever, the most for played the most games in IPL history, like records just left, right, and centre. So he's going to be hugely missed. Knowing that the conditions here. I haven't played in Dubai or the UAE at this time of the year for a long time. So knowing that it's hot, there's more chance of the wickets being a bit more dry and turning a little bit more compared to when we're here for the PSL. Yeah. So, Raina plays been incredibly well as well. So, no doubt he's a big loss. But we've got someone like Murali Vijay, who's a gun player. He's absolutely. In T20 cricket as well. He hasn't had many opportunities in the last 3 or 4 years in T20 cricket, but he's a seriously good batsman. Yeah. So he was sitting on the sidelines last year. So he's more chance of getting an opportunity this year. So, and then Harbhajan, of course, like he's done incredibly well the last couple of years for CSK. And again, there's opportunities on the other side for someone like Piyush Chawla, who's just come over from the Kolkata Knight Riders. So that there's a great opportunity for him. Like we've got all IPL squads have got a lot of depth. So of course they're going to be, their experience and their quality of what they're able to produce is going to be missed. But you got to make the most of the situation that you got.
I think you would probably like the UAE conditions. Especially the Dubai and Abu Dhabi ground has been happy hunting grounds for you.
Absolutely, I love playing here. I've played a lot of cricket here now. Whether that's Sharjah is definitely a different wicket, but I'm glad I've played a lot here because it's a very skiddy sort of lower wicket. So I've got more of an understanding of what it's going to do. And Dubai and Abu Dhabi are great places to be able to bat. So I'm excited. It's a great time to be able to be here and in the UAE. It's very different. Again, it's a very different experience. Like I never thought in my life.
I was looking at the schedule and the timings of the matches. I think one thing that IPL management has done well is that they have taken off the dew factor with the timings. Since the matches will start early, so dew won't affect the matches as much as it used to do in the PSL.
I'm not sure if that's really was one of their considerations. I think it's more what time zooms in perfectly to the to prime time in India. Just worked out all right.
Good one there. Yeah. Okay, Shane. So you must have seen most of the squads, and like you said, that there's quite depth in IPL as compared to other leagues because there are more players involved in there. Looking at the CSK squad, I mean, there is experience there. You guys have won it in 2018, lost it in the 2019. So the core group is very much there. How do you think that CSK will do? Will they do well this year?
Yeah, I think we're a great chance of doing well. I suppose the biggest unknown in a way is that there's been no cricket for like 5 months. Yeah. Normally the IPL is off the back of whether it's international cricket or for me it's been the PSL coming straight from there, a world-class tournament straight into the IPL. So just everyone's always just comes off is still playing. has been playing and has gone into the IPL. Whereas this year, apart from the guys who play in the CPL and the guys who are playing in England, the Aussies, or no one's really got match practice under their or match time under their belt. So it's going to be a very different experience for a lot of people. I've sort of been used to it in a way, playing T20 tournaments on and off, at certain times for the last four years. So I've got more of an understanding, but still it's a challenge to be able to get your skills up. But most people are in a similar boat. So there's no question that having an experienced team means that your players have got more understanding of what they need to do to be able to get their skills where they need to be able to execute under pressure in game one. So that's why I always believe CSK we're a great chance of having a great year because of the quality of players and also the experience that we've got. So we've got more chance of not making as many mistakes, is trying to get up to speed as quick as we possibly can.
Shane, talking about CSK and your relationship in particular, do you think that the sort of confidence that they have, instilled in you, and the confidence that they had in you, like you were struggling in 2018, but they stuck to you, and then you played the amazing innings in the semi-final, and wow, the innings in the final where you single-handedly, won in the final. And then the same thing happened in 2019, and you started doing well at the business end of the event. So that sort of confidence, help even the bigger players when they are not doing well.
Yeah, look, 2018 was one of my better IPL. Well, it's probably the most runs I think I've scored in IPL. So it wasn't just the final. That was one of my better years. But last year certainly was, CSK stuck with me through thick and thin, really. And every other team that I've really just about would have been in, I would have been dropped a couple of games before I got my runs against the Sunrisers. Just them backing me, knowing that I've got my next few good innings are just around the corner. So that belief is something that only, I suppose, world class leaders really stick by their caliber of their players that they've got. And that was testament and a great learning for me as well, to be honest, to show that if you believe in someone, you believe in their ability, and you've seen what they've been able to do time and time again, that they, at some stage, there's a really good chance they will come good. And I was just fortunate that things sort of, in the end, worked out well, that I was able to contribute. Not well enough in the final, running myself out in the last over. But up until that point, I got as close.
Shane, like talking about the IPL, the first year you were with Rajasthan Royals, won the title while Shane was the captain. Then you moved to Royal Challengers Bangalore, but the move didn't succeed as much as your liking. And then you came to Chennai Super Kings. So there have been 3 different experiences playing under Shane Warne, Virat Kohli, and Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So what's been different for you?
They've all got their own personality, the franchises, there's no question, and that always comes from the top all the way down. I'm talking about the owners that filter all the way down into the captaincy as well. So Rajasthan was very much it felt like it was very much run by Warnie. So, and the overseas owners in a way, Manoj Badali, who was one of the owners, who was sort of like the forefront of the owners, was very sort of quite hands on. So it felt like it was more of a westernized run franchise. We had then it moved on to Rahul Dravid, which is incredible to be able to be captained by him. He is just phenomenal man, phenomenal captain, and he combined with Paddy Upton, who was and they were a great combination. So Rajasthan had its own, and being in Jaipur as well. Jaipur itself is a beautiful city. It's an awesome ground to play. It's quite a fast and bouncy wicket for India, so that suited the way I play as well. So I got fortunate to be able to play there. So Rajasthan had its own personality. RCB was very much, I came in after Vijay Mallya wasn't the owner anymore. It was run by the corporate side of Diageo. And then obviously that filtered down to Virat. And look, my first year in particular was an incredible experience. I didn't score many runs, but I had my best season from a bowling perspective. Yeah. So that was even to be able to experience playing a final in Bangalore, that was something we lost, and I had a shocking game. But it was an amazing experience, the whole build up to it, and to be able to play out under Virat and get to know Virat as well that's been one of the highlights of my career, to be able to get to know and understand the way he operates, what kind of person he is, which is he's an incredible person, and he's obviously an incredible batsman, an incredible cricketer, and the intensity that he has every single time he plays and trains is just, it's superhuman. So that was incredible to see. Obviously, my second year wasn't a great year. I didn't play well. For a few different reasons, and it's all on myself. I was trying to still work out what the best balance of playing, like my preparation, playing in the lead up to the Big Bash, playing club cricket, then just making sure I was ticking every box that I could. I got it wrong throughout that sort of lead up.
Probably putting
3 to 4
quite a lot of pressure on yourself.
That too, but also just my preparation wasn't. I thought I'd be okay with just playing the Big Bash and then play the PSL. But like, I needed, in the lead up to that, I needed to play club cricket. I needed to really get the foundation set in a lot earlier. So that's what I learned from that experience with RCB myself, because it's a challenge to be able to get your skills when you're not playing international cricket consistently. It's hard to get your skills up to world-class cricket unless you are like hovering around that at around that skill level. So that was something that I learned the hard way, because I ended up getting dropped, and it was not a great experience, because we didn't have a great year for RCB. And like anything, when things don't go well, there's always stuff goes down. So that's part and parcel when you're in a team that doesn't win. So, but then CSK had full faith in me. They're always an incredible franchise to play against. So they're always incredibly good. When I was playing for Rajasthan against Chennai, I always really admired Stephen Fleming. Always very much admired MS as well, the way he carried himself on and off the field. So to be able to have a chance to be able to play with CSK and really experience the way a franchise is run incredibly well from the top down was a very special experience. And I do feel very fortunate to have had this part of my career of the IPL in the last few years of my career, to be able to play in such a great franchise that looks after everyone so unbelievably well.
Shane, let's move on to the PSL. And you, in the PSL, you have been to Islamabad United. You have been champion there. You came to Quetta Gladiators. You helped us become champion as well. So can you share the experiences with both the franchises?
Yeah, it was a great experience. Both have been great experiences. Islamabad United was a great experience, being owned by Ali Naqvi, who's a very impressive man who set up a great franchise from day one, and then to be coached by Dean Jones as well. That I'd never really had that much to do with Dino, like a lot. Like, I hadn't spent that much time with him through my years of playing for Australia. So to be able to actually get to know him really well, and the other person as well was Makram. He was the mentor at Islamabad United as well. So those two guys, to be able to get to know them personally as well was a really special time. Like, Wazir Makram, to be able to get to know him and understand all his information and knowledge on the game of cricket that was phenomenal. I was fortunate enough to be able to play against Wazim right at the start of my career, right at the back end of his career. So then to be able to, and I always admired him, so then to be able to get to know him away from cricket was really special. So I wasn't there for the last few games for Islamabad when Islamabad when we won the title the first year. I hurt myself bowling in the lead up to the T20 World Cup in 2016. So I ended up going back just to make sure I was right. But then to be able to move on onto Quetta Gladiators, that's been a really special, like one of the most special teams I've played with. To be able to be involved in such a caring, welcoming franchise. And again, it all starts at the top. It all starts with the leaders and the owners, and that filters all the way down. Like, Nadeem Omar is just one of the most kind, generous, sweet people you'll ever meet in your life. And that's exactly what's instilled all the way through the whole franchise. It has to. If you've got a leader that's very strong and forthright, then 9 times out of 10 that filters all the way through, because that's what they're the type of people that they want around. So for Quetta to be able to come to Karachi as well, the second year that I played, and be able to experience the PSL in Pakistan. For the first time for me since I played in an Australia A Tour in 2005, it was a really incredible experience that I'll never ever forget. The final the sort of preliminary final that we played against Zalmi
Peshawar
was a
Zalmi,
really was a special day, and then for us to be able to win the final like in front of the Karachi crowd, that was just, and walk around after the game and just the stadium still be so packed. That was honestly, that's one of the most special moments of my career. I've been very fortunate to have quite a few really special moments, and that's certainly right up there. That experience was something that I'll cherish forever.
I'll ask a similar question like I asked regarding Shane Warne, Dhoni, and Virat Kohli. So you have played under Misbah-ul-Haq, you have played under Sarfaraz Ahmed. So how do you rate them as captains?
Yeah, they're quite different people. Misbah is obviously very tactically very good, and an incredible batsman, and he is very much he's not emotional at all. He doesn't show much emotions. Very, very simple, very direct.
Yeah, very relaxed.
So Misbah does not get caught up in any emotion whatsoever. That's one of his huge strengths. Whereas Sarfraz, who's tactically very good, he's obviously a world-class cricketer, world-class batsman, world-class keeper. But he's a bit more emotionally charged. He gets his emotions are outward. It's not good or bad. It's just different. So, people who play under them just get used to their different captaincy styles, and that's across the board. That's, all the different captains I've played under. Everyone's got their own personality type of that's how they get the best out of themselves. That's how they, try and get the best out of the people around them as well. So, yeah, look, Sarfaraz he's a world-class player and a world-class captain. So it's been a great experience. Like I like when I'm thinking and talking about it now, Nabil, I pinch myself to think how lucky I am to have the experiences throughout my life that I've been able to have and meet so many incredible people, learn so many amazing lessons from like so many incredible people and incredible cricketers.
Okay, so this is a touchy question for you. So I won't ask a longer question. Tell us your experience with Sir Viv Richards, because I have seen you behaving literally like a school kid wanting to learn a lot from the teacher.
It's the ultimate. That's honestly that is one of the highlights of my entire life, let alone career, is being able to be in a team where Sir Vivian Richards is our mentor, and I can spend like a lot of time with him just asking questions nonstop. Like, he hasn't seemed to really get sick of it yet. Mate, at some stage he might just go, look, just leave me alone. Sick of being peppered with all these questions. But he is the ultimate cricketer that's like, I believe that's just about ever played. Just everything about him is just incredible. And and thanks to Quetta for giving me that opportunity to be able to spend the quality time that I have with him. That was it. It really is. It's one of the highlights of my career. It's very special, and to be able to be in the same hotel, be in the same in the bus, and just be around like greatness. It has to rub off on everyone, because he just knows he's got it done over and over again.
Yeah, I think incredible. He was well ahead of the time. Shane, you played under probably one of the best captains, Ricky Ponting. I think the start of your career, and then going on to win so much with Australia. So tell us about the relationship of Ponting, trusting the younger players.
Ricky, from the age of, for me, 19, when I moved down to Tasmania to play first class cricket there, I got to meet him when he was playing for Australia at that stage, but I got to meet him. And from that moment, I first met him at a training camp. He went out of his way to take me under his wing. He'd invite me out for coffee. He'd invite me out to be able to just talk cricket and talk about life. And that just continued on. Like, I feel like to be able to play, when you play and achieving my dream of playing for my country, for Australia, and then to be guided by someone who just knew how to get the best out of me. He believed in me. He saw things in me that I didn't know I had in me. And he just continued to do that. So from 2002, when I first came into the Australian one-day team and around the Australian squad, through to 2011, so that was 9 years of having an incredible mentor, an amazing captain who just knew how to balance it right, was incredibly patient with me as well, with my injuries that I had. I never felt like he got frustrated or annoyed because I'd broken down again with an injury. He was so patient. And he just knew the right things to say to me at the right time, just nicely just moving me and pushing me and challenging me in the right direction. So again, I just feel so fortunate. Like, he was just, the impact that he had on my career my international career was so significant. If it wasn't for Ricky, I never would have been able to achieve what I did. I probably wouldn't have played as much as I did as well, because he was incredibly patient with the injuries and that I had. And it took me a bit of time to really find my feet in international cricket as well. So, yeah, I'm so grateful.
If I have to ask you your greatest achievement with Australia, what would it be?
It's a good question. The one that stands out the most out of anything, and I've been so lucky to have some really incredible experiences, but the one that stands out to me the most was the 2015 World Cup at home, winning that at home at the MCG, a packed MCG against New Zealand. To be able to win like a World Cup and be a part of a World Cup at home was, yeah, that's what dreams are made of. It really is. Like I can't remember exactly what time it was in Australian cricket when it got announced that there was going to be a 2015 World Cup in Australia. I can't remember what year it was. I don't know, it was 2002 or 2006. I can't remember. But what I do remember is when it got announced, it's like, okay, that's 2015. That may not be 34. So there's a long way to go for even to me to be able to to think that I might have a chance to be able to still be playing well enough at that stage, still be fit enough to be able to play at that stage. So that was my
with all the injuries that you had.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my that was like on the horizon that wow, that would be a dream to even play in that, let alone then like win it at home. So then, yeah, the build up to it and everything after, I got dropped after I think it was a second game against New Zealand because they'd run out of patience with me, and fair enough. But then I was lucky enough to get called back in thanks to Mark Waugh. He was a selector on duty. He sort of had the final decision to pull me back in.
Mark Waugh.
Yeah,
he was one of my favorite memories. Saeed Anwar and Mark Waugh.
Yeah, Mark Waugh. Wasn't he amazing? So he was selector on duty, and it was his really like decision to pull me back in. If he wanted some more experience, and he believed that I had some good games in me, and then it worked out incredibly well from then. But again, to be able to experience that day at the MCG, that night at the MCG, after we won, and walking around the ground with like 90,000 people still there, far out. That's a moment you just want to pause and be there forever. Yeah, incredible.
Well, I'm sure शेन वॉटसन के इस इंटरव्यू में आप लोगों को मजा आ रहा होगा, लेकिन यहाँ पे जो है ब्रेक लगाएंगे क्योंकि वी एज अ टीम हैव डिसाइडेड कि इस ज़बरदस्त इंटरव्यू को, जो कि एक गोल्ड माइन है फ्रॉम द शेन वॉटसन, तो हम जो है इसको 2 पार्ट्स में जो है इनको रिलीज़ करेंगे. सो ये था पहला पार्ट. उम्मीद है कि आप सबको पसंद आएगा. अगर पसंद आए तो सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें, क्योंकि आगे जो कंटेंट आना है वो इससे भी बेहतर है. सो सेकंड पार्ट का ज़रूर वेट करिएगा, और पहले पार्ट पे जो है प्लीज़ थोड़े से लाइक्स ठोक दीजिएगा, सब्सक्राइब करिएगा.